Right, okay, so we're at the Very Fitness podcast. This is the Q&A podcast today. So we've basically been given a load of questions from yourselves, and me and Petras are going to answer it. Now, I've got Petras here because I've worked with Petras before. He's a personal trainer as well. I find Petras very knowledgeable, so he's going to give you probably the more in-depth knowledge, and I'm probably going to give you the layman's term answer to some of these questions. So we're going to go diving straight into it. So the first question we've been asked, how often should I exercise? So we're going to go straight to you, Petras. How often should we exercise?
I think it's the question that I heard a lot as well, and there's no real answer how often someone should train. I think it's how often you can train and how often you're willing to train. Because if I tell you you need to train 5 times a week, but you can only train 3 times a week, it's not impossible. Same like if someone comes to you and asks you, let's say, same question, and you say maybe on paper 5-6 times a week is the best, and he says yes, okay, let's do that, and you're gonna write him a program for 5-6 days. You're gonna make a split, upper lower, whatever the split is. You give him that plan, and then 2 weeks later he said, oh, I missed this and this day, this week I can't do this and this day, and then at the end of the day that plan is garbage actually.
Yeah.
I think that, like I say, you need to train as often as you actually can, as often as you can commit to.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. When I get clients on, one of the things that we talk about, how often can they get to the gym realistically? So if they're looking to build muscle and they can only get to the gym, say they could get to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, but there's going to be times they could only maybe get 3 or 4 rather than actual 5, then I might work around about 3 days to start with. And also it depends on their experience, how long they've been training for, what they can do. So, because obviously, depending on what split you're going to do, especially if you're looking to build muscle, depending on what the exercise is. I mean, obviously I'm talking about building muscle, it could be anything. We've got to work out what they need, what the recovery stage is going to be, what their training age is, and I'd work it around that. But the most important thing that I always say to people, to get any kind of result from programs, it's got to have consistency. So it's got to be something that we can fit and can be consistent with to get the results. So that's what I would probably say when it comes to basically how often we should do is just basically working on what they can actually do to achieve that.
Yeah, like you said, you're looking at the recovery time. So if you're working out 6 times a week, you may be giving less stimulus, less exercise, but you're doing it more often. But if you start missing these days, you don't end up doing enough. But let's say if you know in front that you can only train 3 times, so you're going to give more work in these days rather than this short little workouts.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, sometimes, like for me, I could train 4 times a week, but I like to set myself a program like I would do to any client, and I'll do myself a 3-day split. And if I can get an extra session in, I will throw the extra session in, but I might do something totally different out of that session. So even if you did like a body split, if you've got a topical bodybuilding split, and you wanted to break it down to certain body parts, but then some weeks you could only come 3 times a gym, and you're also doing a 4-day split over 4 body parts, then one body part will always be neglected. So yeah, I think that'd be the best way.
I guess like you kind of mentioned, like I guess probably the smartest way, like you say, for example, you can train 4, but maybe you're missing 1 day once in a while. So you build a strict plan for 3 days, and then if you can, you jump in and do maybe the lagging body part or something like that.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, because sometimes like if you've got a body part that you want to work on it specifically, so it could be your legs, you might do another leg day, or you might do another chest day or arm day.
Yeah.
Depending if you can get that extra one in. So yeah, I should do that as well. Right, okay, so we're going to dive into number 2. What time of the day is best to work out? Now that's an interesting one. I'd like to hear your answer on this one.
It is before I always used to think evening, just because you are full of nutrients, you had plenty of meals, you have plenty of energy to burn out in the evening. But like now I think it doesn't really matter. It's like, again, like whatever time suits you. If you're a morning person, if you okay to get up, 7 o'clock in the morning before work or 6 o'clock in the morning, then I think that's what you should do. It doesn't really matter if you are more energized in the evening, but you end up skipping these days. Like same like with the previous question. Like I guess if you train morning, you maybe want some small snack, before training, because you're still, going to be burning glucose, but maybe before the night you didn't eat again, you're low on it, and you might not be so energized for the workout. But yeah, there's no massive difference, I think.
Yeah. I think, yeah, again, there's the multiple answers to that question. And I think really what it comes down to is when you can fit it in, pretty much like we said before. Again, I always go back to getting that consistency in. So, if it's going to be an evening, it's going to be morning, whenever you can get that time, if it means traveling to the gym, when you can get to the gym, how long does it take to travel? So I know there's been studies, I don't know what you think about it, but I know, like, obviously from a man's point of view, first thing in the morning was always a popular one because your testosterone levels seem to be a lot higher in the morning. I'm not 100% grounded on the truth on that matter, if that's just an old wives' tale, but I think there might be a little bit of truth.
Yeah, because morning boner, that's the
Well,
thing.
yeah, that's
because
it.
when you wake up, your testosterone, your hormones,
Yeah.
kind of waking up, your body's waking up.
Yeah.
That's why the men, get the boner, and that's why they think testosterone is up, and that's the best time, to train. But at the end of the day, your testosterone levels throughout the day is pretty much same, pretty much flat, and
And like you said,
there's not a big difference.
I mean, like you say as well, it's also with people as well. I've always had that kind of mentality. I like to have a bit of food behind me before I train. I've stopped doing it, but for almost a year, well, pretty much a year, I was doing fasting, so I wasn't eating till midday. And obviously, the way I work with the clients and I've got a bit busy lifestyle out away from my clients with family and stuff. So sometimes, if for some reason I've had a cancellation in that hour in the morning, I think, well, you know what, I'm going to get this workout the way now and do it. So I'll do it on a fasting period. And sometimes mentally, I think I'll be struggling because I haven't eaten. I've actually done all right.
And it's like the thing is that we sometimes precondition ourselves with thinking like, I didn't have any food, so the workout's gonna be shit. And then midway through, you might even keep thinking like, oh, but at the end of the workout, you still, like you just said, you found out, oh, no, felt fine, had a good workout.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the fasting as well, the reason why certain ways you do fasting is you're trying to deplete your glycogen levels, and there's no way better to deplete your glycogen levels by using the glycogen levels that are stored in the body stored in your body, to use it when you're working out anyway. So it's a good way of doing it that way. So long as you can feel like you've got enough energy to do the workout, and I think 9 out of 10 most people will do. Again, I think it is a bit of a mental thing on that. So,
and I think like the only thing, if you've been fasting, because obviously there is another big question whether I should take protein after my training, after my session, and like if you ate a couple hours, 2 hours before your workout, it doesn't really matter if you have a protein shake straight after. You can wait another 2-3 hours. But if you fasted and then you had a training, then probably best to have something in you because you don't have any building blocks in your body.
Yeah. Now I think when I've had trained, because of the intensity of the training session that I tend to do, say if I'm doing a leg day or a back day or chest day, there's always a big compound exercise that we're working on. And depending on if it's a strength training program, an endurance program, or even just a hypertrophy program where I'm just focusing and just getting quite high volume, the workout's so demanding that I've got to get some kind of food back into me, especially if it's just a gap where I'm going to fall back into have another workout. That's why sometimes in my fridge I stock a few protein shakes just to get that instant quick, not just to get the protein, but to get the calories back in.
Yeah.
Right, so the third one we've got here, how long should my workouts be?
That's again, they've all this like first is similar again, like how much you can fit in, and it's then up to you yourself or your trainer, your coach, is how to fit all the exercises you need within the week. Especially now when I have another business running, I'm working another full-time job. Like my training, sometimes it's just half an hour, sometimes it's hour and a half, and just to know how much time I can do. And I guess the less time you train, the more like supersets, drop sets you put in, the more time you train every day, the more, let's say, simpler or maybe more heavy compound movements you can fit in.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like I say, it all depends on how much time you have to train. And again, I think what people do is when they don't have enough time, let's say they've trained 3 times a week, hour and a half every session, and then they may be stuck late in work, and they're like, I only have 45 minutes this session. It's not even worth. That's like, that mentality of 100% or nothing. I think that's what people needs to get rid of, because 45 minutes can still, even half an hour can still give you a good workout, and you're not missing that day. But if you miss that day, you're then lacking the next day, and then the next day starts compounding, and then you're missing, start missing more workouts.
Yeah. No, again, it's true. Like going back to what I push out there a lot with people, clients on social media and on the podcast is consistency. And the reason why I'm saying that is that's why it's good to have a plan. So obviously for me, as a trainer, training my clients, ideally I want to see them for an hour. I used to do half an hour. Half an hour's all right if I could get a lot of half an hours in, 2 to 3, where we can work around certain compound movements. Well, I found a lot of people or clients that I was getting, they just want to do a bit more of like an endurance in that half an hour, which is fine, but it's not something I feel like you see a personal trainers to do like cardiovascular type of training. I want to do like weight specific training. I want to help build lean muscle tissue, which is going to get them more anabolic by building more muscle, and then obviously correcting the diet and stuff. But going back with the consistency is what I tend to do. I tend to do 3 workouts a week. Then workouts should be about 15 minutes long. But sometimes, just because of the way my week could be, I might not be able to do the whole 50-minute workout. So what I might have to do, which I have done on my last workout, I've had to split it up twice. So my last workout I've done back. So I've done so today, or back and biceps, like a pull workout. So I've done pretty much hex bar deadlifts. I've done pull-ups, wide grip pull-ups. I've done seat row. What else have I done? Single arm row, and chin-ups as well. Even though chin-ups will probably class more of a bicep workout, but I'm trying to squeeze into my lats and utilising my biceps are working, but into my lats as well. But saying that, I've got 3 bicep workouts, exercises to do on there. Because of the time, I just purely done my back, them exercises, and then tomorrow, hopefully, if I've got 20 minutes, half an hour, I'll finish having a good little bicep workout at the end. Which in a way, from a hypertrophy variation of it, my biceps are getting attacked twice in less than 24 hours. Now, that used to be frowned upon, but now that's looked as a positive for hypertrophy.
It's also, to be honest, like now it's quite popular to train every single muscle group every day.
Yeah.
But you do like less rigid workouts. Like, for example, you did most of your exercises purely targeting your back, and biceps is like a secondary muscle group. You're not gonna be next day your biceps not gonna be sore. You're not gonna be feel like stiff. So I think it, like you say, I think it's only gonna benefit you.
And I think having it like that, for me, in my mindset, and the way to do it, and the way I call about consistency is, even though I haven't done the 3 separate workouts, I've completed my task for that week. I've done all my 3 workouts. I might have to split one of them workouts into 2, but I've managed to do them 3 days, and that's what I go back to. So with my clients, I tend to do a lot of my clients, we tend to do 2-day splits, because most people can only get to me 2 days. Some people 3. These days I don't tend to get 4, and that's more because of me, because I don't have the time to get the people's full setting. So when I get them, we do an hour, like a full body workout if we can, and we just emphasis on certain body parts a little bit more. So we still work on all the body, but we might do a bit more chest and back. Obviously, you're working in here, the type of programs I would do with my clients. So so time-wise, like I say, it could be half an hour, it could be 20 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 5 minutes, whatever exercise I think you can fit in there's always going to be a benefit. There's no negative if the workout lasts 5 minutes or an hour. It may do, depending on it. If you're doing endurance training, you're running a marathon and you're only running a mile at a time. In some cases, that could work, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I think if whatever you can fit in.
Yeah, like I think it depends on circumstances, because obviously, you work in a gym, that's your job. So you can cut the workout short and then finish the rest the next day, squeeze it in. But like I say, if you can't really, split it, I say you compound and you do supersetting everything, and skipping the time. Either superset or a drop set. No, a drop set, we'll do 3 sets pretty much in a time of 1 normal set. And just,
yeah, of course,
you're not going to skip anything.
No, that's a very good idea as well. Right, here's a good one. Do I need to warm up before my workouts?
It depends, I guess. Like, my warm-up is, I pretty much, let's say it's a leg day. My warm-up is, I just do squats. I just came in, do bodyweight squats, put a barbell on, do weightless barbell squats, and just slowly ramp up the weight and just feel how everything feels. Like if my knee's fine, if my hip's fine, if I'm not feeling stiff. If, let's say I'm starting warming up, and I'm doing, let's say, body weight, it's fine, putting bar, fine. As soon as I start loading weight, I start feeling like maybe my hips are a little stiff, then I maybe stretch the hip. If they're feeling fine, I'm gonna carry on doing, and like I say, just analyze while I'm doing. And once I feel something's not right, I might stretch. If I'm feeling fine, I'm not gonna stretch. To be honest, probably for the past 6-7 months, I haven't done much stretching, but it changed over the time. I remember there was times when I think, oh, you must stretch, you must do like long half-an-hour stretches, half-an-hour warm-up before training. Then I went to a completely no stretching. Then I went to some dynamic stretching, just swing my legs around and stuff like that. But now I think it's just how you feel. If you've been sitting all day, you probably will need a little stretching. If your job is constantly on your feet, moving around, you're less likely needing any stretches. But probably the best, like I say, my best advice is just get on. Probably start all your workouts with compound movements, and then just slowly ramp up the weight and see how you feel. As soon as you start feeling like it's a little off, then you do some stretch and then carry on ramping up the weight.
Yeah, no, 100% what you just said there. Like typical workout that I would do, we would always start on a compound exercise with a client. What I'll do, I'll get them to warm up on that compound with very little weight. Could be body weight exercise with squats, or it could be just with the bar to start with. And then get a couple of sets, warm up, see how they are. I feel like they're looking a bit stiff, still not getting quite down into a decent squat position. And we might do a little bit more, and then I'll put the weight on. And the first set, we'll judge it. I mean, I always feel like the first set is the fires the nervous system up anyway. And then I feel like, depending on how many sets we're going for, after that, we're getting the proper, really good working sets. But yeah, I mean, what you said there is exactly how I would do it. Obviously, certain exercises might be certain different, but if we're going from a gym point of view and doing weights, yeah, that's exactly how I'll do. Just walk, start a compound. Good thing about the compound, it's a multi-joint.
It forms up your whole
everything
body,
there, doesn't it? So yeah, I'll definitely go that.
I think the biggest mistake I see, because now obviously training commercial gyms, and I see people spending too much time. You definitely don't need half an hour warm up.
Oh God, no.
People I see, they end up half an hour rolling, stretching, running on a running machine or a bicycle, and then they go in you burn half of your energy warming up before you even start the real workout.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone really should stretch before weights, because you're just losing a natural elasticity in the muscle when it comes to doing the weights. You're not going to get as much. I think that's probably more important, maybe at the end. Well, probably more important at the end of the workout, a weights workout. Obviously, it's just mobility movement. Just going through the pains of movement. That's all you need to do really to warm up, and just raise your heart rate, feel warm, feel looser. you know, just typical, just maybe jumping on the spot, or
Yeah.
you know, the days we putting people on a treadmill or a bike or that for 5-10 minutes before
Like
they go in their
even a
session.
personal training course, they say, you know, you need to 5-10 minutes, you know, put them on a bike.
That's old school. That's old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a bit too much.
No, I won't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Should I do strength training or cardio or both?
Probably both. I don't do cardio. I'm guilty of that. I just hate it. Yeah, but yeah, the best thing is probably both. Yeah, probably like do a strength that again. If you like running, if you maybe doing 5K runs, if you want to improve your, running ability or just, cardiovascular strength, maybe you're a rugby player, you probably do cardio first, then do weights, because you should prioritize the one that you want to improve first. But if your goal is, to improve your body composition, put on some muscle, and probably do the weights, and then at the end, put that 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depends how long you can and how long you want to get the cardio.
Yeah. No. Okay, I totally agree. I think, but you have to do both anyway. Because I always say to people, I'm not a massive cardio person. I'm not going to be. I mean, you could already look at my gym. The only thing we have is a ski egg as a cardiovascular piece of kit in here. But that's just because we can jump on that, smash a bit of interval on there, and we're done. Really, as a finisher. But though, your heart is the biggest and most important. Well, not the biggest, but the most important muscle to work. So you need to do some cardiovascular exercise, and I always say to people, you just got to make cardio enjoyable. Probably I'm like the same as you. I won't just sit on a bike or bounce on a treadmill for an hour or whatever. I like to do. I mean, mine's like doing the basketball on a Friday night. That's a great interval sprint, 2 hours, cracking workout. I keep myself busy. If I can walk, I will walk. Obviously, you see me, I go on my scooter.
Yeah.
If I can scoot home, just keep moving and all that. But no, you definitely need to fit some kind of cardio in, and obviously doing the resistance. You do both, and obviously, if people have been listening to my podcast, the reason why I've been speaking to lots of different trainers in different fields, yoga, Pilates, MMA, fighting, and stuff like that, is because all them elements all have a play in it. And it's always about finding what you enjoy. But definitely, without a doubt, you would want to do weights, cardio, stretching, all the above. Right. Should I lift weights for strength training?
I don't think it would be a question.
Yeah.
Obviously, because like strength training is like I'll take this question as powerlifting training. If you purely for strength, so obviously you need weights.
Yeah.
And if you, for example, from powerlifting standpoint, if you're training for squat, deadlift, bench, these movements that you must do and you must overload, so you must increase the weights. And strength is more like a skill. It's something that you need to keep doing, keep repeating to get better, because it's a bit different than hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is as long as you do some stimulus, whatever exercise you choose, as long as the muscle is stimulated, it's going to grow. You can do different planes, different types of exercises. But if you want to improve your squat, you have to squat. You can't do leg press and improve your squat. You have to do the same movement over and over.
Oh, definitely. If you're looking for that kind of strength and that, I mean, if they're just looking for strength in a way of doing push-ups, so you're doing pull-ups, chin-ups, dips, then obviously you don't need weights. You're just using your own body as a resistance. So, yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily need weights, but if you're looking for specifically strength training in a competition style, then obviously you've got to deadlift something, haven't you? So you have to pick something up. If it's a bar, hex bar, or body, whatever. Whatever. Right. I'm struggling to get through my workouts. What should I do?
Find different workouts. Because often I think I was too strict on myself also, and there was time when I lost the passion for training. I became too scientific. I brought down my plan as it's on the book, as I'm a robot, as I can, I'm programmed and I'm gonna do it. And then it's a perfect plan, but it's not driving me.
Yeah.
I don't really enjoy it. And then it's like my lifts was getting better, I was getting stronger, I was putting on muscle, but I was not enjoying. And then there came a point when everything started declining, and I just did not enjoy. And there was times like, should I even bother training anymore? I think it's more about making it more interesting. That's why I used to talk shit about CrossFit and stuff like that, and because you're stupid, no, you're running, that's not a pull-up.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, if you're enjoying, that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I mean, like the CrossFit thing, it's like for me, when I write out programs, most of my clients, we do microcycles, we do every 12 weeks, we'll do something different. So obviously the 12 weeks, you're not doing the same plan for 12 weeks. I basically break up into 3 different parts for that week. So we'll be focused on certain repetitions or certain body parts. But say if I'm doing a full body workout, again, like I said before, we might do a bit of chest and back for the first 4 weeks, but still working the full body, but focusing a little bit more, doing a few more exercises on them particular body parts. And then we do legs and posterior chain. And then we'll do like arms and shoulder, but we're still doing full body. And we might do that, and we work a lot more strength. So we might do a bit of 5x5. So not as many higher reps, a bit lower reps. And then after that, we'll go a bit more hypertrophy. So we're just going to go more 8 to 10, 12, your typical rep range from that. And then we'll do an endurance stage after that, where we'll be working between 8, but then we could go all the way up to 20 reps, so just repping out on certain exercises. Now, going like what I say about CrossFit, I'm not knocking CrossFit when I say this, because I think what we just talked about there, the great thing you get with CrossFit and why people enjoy it, is you got workout the day. So yeah. Pretty much every day you go, there's a workout, there's a new challenge going on. And I think that's great to keep people motivated. The only drawback on that, for me, and that's why I always feel like CrossFit is always better for people that have a bit more background experience, being in a gym, having a sport, and I think it's a great newbie type of person to go into a CrossFit, is because you need that kind of repetition. It's like anything. So for me, I'll keep the same workout for about 4 weeks and then it will change. So you need to have a little bit of consistency, because your squat's never going to get better. If you do a squat one day and you don't go back to doing a squat for 4 weeks, your squat's never improving. You're not improving the volume of what you can lift, your technique. So in times we do need that little bit of consistency, which sometimes that could be a little bit boring. But again, it's very important to make sure that you change it. So maybe not so much like I was saying, like a CrossFit, like you do it every day with a new challenge, unless you're quite advanced. But I think for someone, obviously these questions are probably people that are asking us because they don't know what they should be doing. Is like, if you're looking for that motivation, just make sure that you're changing it. And again, like I was saying before, finding something that you enjoy. If it's in the gym, if it's Pilates, if it's yoga, if it's some kind of mixed martial art, finding something that you enjoy, because you want to be keeping motivated and want to enjoy working out. When a workout becomes like a job that you don't like, and you're going to struggle to see that benefit from it, because I always go back to, you need that consistency. So if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to be consistent in it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to, for example, if you have a training plan, the exercise that you like the most, leave it for the end.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do. Like, I know the best was, for example, always the best way is to start with compound movements. Let's say with the deadlift. If you want to improve deadlift, start with the deadlift, because then you have the most strength, the most energy. But then I sometimes on purpose used to put the deadlift at the end, because I was enjoying that lift the most.
Yeah.
And I was doing everything, and I was just looking forward to do that exercise.
Yeah.
The same for someone might be going on a treadmill for 10 minutes at a full speed or something like that. Just leave it at the end of the workout.
Yeah, it's funny, because that's why I do like a bit of a finisher, really. A finisher is just like just to completely finish off the muscles. So we've worked a lot of arms. I tend to finish off on like boxing, which is always more of a popular one, or maybe ropes. And I do that for 2 things: not just completely exhaust the muscle at the end, but also to get that endorphin hit. Because sometimes with weights, I always get endorphin. Like typical Arnold, I like the pump. You know what I mean? That's what I want to do. I love to feel what I feel at the end. I'm like rock solid and I'm pumped up and I feel fantastic, and that's my endorphin hit. But and obviously, some people love the endorphin hit of actually getting a good sweat on at the end.
Yeah.
Because with the weights, yeah, you get a good sweat depending on the intensity you go in, but not necessarily you get it all the time. So yeah, like I say, it's just finding something that you enjoy that will keep you coming, and just mixing things up as you go on. I'm feeling really sore. What was the best thing to do?
Rest and eat nutritious food just to recover. And I think again, like soreness. I'll take soreness now just as a separate, let's say, question, because soreness is the thing that people seek, but sometimes they go too much. Because you should feel some sore that you did something, but you shouldn't be that sore that you're unable to walk, unable to sit down. If you're feeling that way, you've probably overdone it. You might have burned more of the muscle that you can actually recover.
Yeah.
But like I say, you should feel sore, but not too much. And if you, for example, you started a new workout, you got a new training plan, you probably obviously first week. If you start something new, you're definitely gonna be sore. That's fine. But let's say if you next week you're still doing the same plan, you're still unable to walk, maybe turn down the volume, maybe do a couple less sets, and then as the time goes on, you start ramping them up.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think anyone, whoever's asked that question or listens to this, if you're someone that's feeling sore when you work out, if it's your first week, if it's a new program, it's a given. You know, even every person I bring in, if they never lift the weights, the first thing I warn them about, they might feel like they're going to be hit by a train when they come out of here, because the next day, because they're probably not using these muscles in the full range of movement that we will take them as a trainer, and that's completely fine. And what I always say to them, like after the first couple of weeks of doing this new plan, the body will adapt. And 9 out of 10, they will adapt. If they're still continuously feeling sore, they're probably just not getting enough rest or recovering that. I mean, obviously, as trainers, I don't tend to get that with clients because I kind of monitor them. But if you're someone that you're constantly feeling sore, and again, like you said, maybe tone the weight training down, making sure you're getting more recovery, making sure that you're getting plenty of rest, getting plenty of the right nutrition in there, and that should be it, really. You know, you shouldn't. That's going to be the element why you would be sore, I think.
Yeah, and then like stretching might help to take it away for a second, but as soon as you're going to sit down and sit for 15-20 minutes, you're going to get stiff again.
Yeah, obviously.
But that's just a natural thing, you know, like you said, also it just takes time.
Yeah.
And then again, some people recover faster than others. Some people can train with the higher volumes and they're not going to be as sore. Some people will be sore with just a tiniest amount of volume. Yeah. Some people have certain muscle groups. For example, for men is hamstrings. Yeah. Only takes a couple of sets and the next day you can't bend over.
Yeah.
But some muscle groups, for example, for me, quads, I can keep squatting all day. The next day I might feel a little bit, but not too bad.
Yeah. No. I mean, like I say, this must be coming from someone that's
maybe had his first session.
Yeah, maybe his first session. Yeah. You know, and they keep going back to it. You get some people, and I'm still sore. I can't train, and I say, no, you got to go through that.
Yeah, just go through the motions. You shouldn't be pushing while you're sore, but just go through the motions. You know, still.
Because one of the mistakes sometimes I get with a client, I can't train today. I'm too sore, so they leave it another week and they go back to that workout, and it's sore again because the body's not adapting properly to it. So you've got to be careful of that. Right. How often do I need to? Well, follows up from what we just spoken to. How often do I need a rest day?
Again, this depends on your program, depends on how high volume you train, how well you're recovering. So if you not recovered, if everything is sore, obviously no, you shouldn't be pushing over it. But then that's why they do stuff like push-pull or upper lower body.
Yeah.
Just so when you're resting certain body part, you can train another body part. I sometimes, let's say, if I had a time off training and then I'm getting back to it, I just do a few body parts, and then the next time I'm going to train, I might not even have a specific plan, but like, okay, this is not sore. I have time now. I'll go to gym, I train what's not sore. Yeah. And if you let's say feel just a tiny bit soreness, maybe feel a little tightness, you're fine to train. But yeah, just if you barely can walk, rest. And like you rest as much as you need. And as the time goes on, the more experience you get, the less time it will take for you to recover.
Yeah. No, I know 100% what you just said there. Probably one thing I probably would say to some people, if you like training every day, which some people do like training, that's completely fine. You can train every day. You know, like you say, you can split the body parts, so you're giving your body a rest in between. You know, you don't necessarily need to take rest days, but I would say that if you're starting to get ill a lot,
Yeah.
your immune system's a bit down, or you're tired, then that's your body telling you that you need to have a rest. So, yeah, ideally, you would train, you can have a day off and that. Ideally, just listen. I always say to people, just listen to your body. Most of the time with my clients, I try and not do any more than 4 sessions a week, just because for the consistency that I was going about with. But again, just don't want to overtrain yourself. You don't want to knock yourself out, because then if you are following a typical plan, you don't want to have a whole week off because you just run yourself to the ground. So I think it's very important that you listen to your body and just get the rest when you feel like you need it.
And I guess also on that rest thing is that you need to not look how your body feels, but how you mentally also feel. Because if you've been drained, if your kid's been up all night, or your business falling down, or something, mentally stressful, that should be taken into consideration as well. Because often, like before I had kids, and everything, like I never, even thought about it because I didn't care about anything else.
Yeah, I know.
Just training and that's it. But if you have other stressors outside of your exercise, you should look at them as well.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're someone that's got into training and you're really loving training and you want to train every day and you feel like it's bad that you miss a day off, it's not bad to miss a day off.
No.
You know, I think that sometimes you can get into it so much that you're not giving yourself that rest, and
And you're actually impairing the growth. You're not getting, enough
well, that's how your body.
enough.
Yeah, that's how your body grows. So if you're looking for that hypertrophy, you're looking about putting muscle on that. Your muscle, you do the damage in the gym. The muscle grows when you recover.
Yeah,
so you need to rest. You can't keep having it all the time. But I mean, it will grow over time, but it can actually be a disadvantage if you did it like that. Right. How do I stay motivated to work out? Well, it's pretty much one of the questions we answered before, but I thought it's just finding something that you like, that you can stick to, that you can keep motivated to. It's like I'll always love doing weights. That will never be an issue in my life. As far as I'll keep doing it till I drop, to be fair, on the weight situation. And my passion is playing basketball. I love playing basketball on a Friday. And I will continue to play basketball till I physically cannot do basketball again.
Yeah, it's also like, finding what you like to do. And sometimes what they want physically from training doesn't match the training that they like doing. They might love running, but they hate weight training.
Yeah.
And I think it's like that's where you need to strike the balance. Okay, I want to improve, build my chest, build my biceps, or build legs, whatever you want to know. You should make a specific day to do this, because weight training will always benefit all the other sports. Same, find whatever sport you like, and maybe pick the exercise that helps to build your passion, that helps to build, let's say, your basketball, whatever. Maybe instead just doing squats, do some lunges, do some sprints and stuff like that. Because sprints, maybe they're not so stimulating hypertrophy, but still better than just jogging around and stuff like that.
No, that's true. It's like I used to do a running club, and there was a few guys that used to do a running club that used to get injured all the time. And one of the things I used to say, they need to do better strength training. And they never were like, I don't want to do strength training. But I used to say to them, yeah, but if you did the strength training, it would reduce your injuries, because what you got to remember is when you're running, you're just compounding. Your body's basically hitting the ground all the time. There's muscle wastage there. Bone density is coming lower. And the best thing to do, the opposite, to build up more muscular endurance and help bone density, is weight training. So sometimes you've got to motivate yourself to do a specific exercise that you don't like doing, but the benefits you're going to have in other things. It's like going back to like things like basketball. I remember when I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, Michael Jordan back in the 90s, when they were getting battered all the time by the Pistons physically. And then they said, right, sack it, we need to do weights and all that. I don't think they particularly wanted to do that. They wanted to play basketball, but if they wanted to get stronger and be able to beat the Pistons, they needed to get stronger. And when they physically got stronger, rest is history.
Yeah, because you need to think not that I need to do squats to grow my legs, but I need to do this to improve my running, and just change the perspective that you look at the exercises.
Definitely. Right. How can I measure my progress?
The thing that I like the best is probably was pictures, and I think pictures gives you the best look, because sometimes the weight on the scales, it might be really inaccurate. You're trying to put on muscle, but you step on the scales and you think, oh, I lost a couple of pounds. I was eating, I was staying consistently, but look cleaner and bigger. So it doesn't matter what the scales show. I think measurements is still quite good. Measurements and pictures is my top two choices. With pictures, then you take them, make sure same time of the day, same lighting, same distance from the mirror, same mirror, everything should be exactly the same, because one step closer, one step further from the mirror, the light changes the lighting, you can look completely different. Again, some people, I remember one of the clients said, okay, I took this first picture, this is my second picture, I look better, and the third picture, I'm starting to look worse.
Yeah.
And then the difference was, first picture was bad lighting, he was in front of mirror, bad posture, took a picture, that's fine. Second picture, he's flexing biceps in front of me, different posture, everything. The third one, at the end of the weekend, 2 days of junk eating, again, different bad posture, sad face. Yeah, you will look different. So that's why you should be, consistent with the way you're measuring. Same like when you're measuring, when I measure, for example, biceps, I have a little spot, like a little mold there, and that's, I know, every single time I put a measurement tape exactly there.
No, I mean, I think everything you said there, bang on. I think mine's always been the pictures. I can paint a real good picture, and it's obviously I'm quite lucky in the gym. Probably the only disadvantage is I don't get people butt naked, because it's a bit uncomfortable to do that. I would say if you want to do it, because obviously without your clothes on, you will look a lot different. And the fact that I like to say for myself, if you look on my website or on my social media or any before and after pictures, that you can see visual differences, and they've actually got the clothes on. So imagine if their clothes are off, you will see a big difference. But yeah, I think photographs is definitely massively important. Again, exactly what you said, same lighting, same place, around about the same time. Measurements is a good one. Obviously, if you want to look at progress through strength, I think it's so important. I use software, so make sure that every time we do a workout, we constantly put the weights in. If it's going up, if it's going down, if it stayed the same, I write everything down, so you can always look and see your progress. At a client today, what was I doing there? I can always scroll down and say, that's when you started, you were lifting this, and this is where you're up today. You basically put an extra 10 kilo on your bench press. Well done, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can manage your progress from that. Probably the least, what you just said, is the scales. Scales can just tell so many different stories.
Yeah. Especially for women, when it comes to period and around that time, the weight might shoot up, but just the water weight.
What they eating that day, when they've come in, how much fluid have they drank?
Yeah.
It could be a lot of things. Obviously, yes, with women, and different period on the period cycles will make a massive difference. So yeah, probably the best is always going to be the visual way of doing it.
Yeah.
But everything really, probably, like I said, the last thing which most people tend to go to is the scales. I always say, forget about the scales.
Yeah.
I have scales. We do monitor your weight, but of all the measurements, photographs, that's the last on my list that I'm really that bothered about. Really,
scales is maybe okay just to get the average weight a week. You shouldn't be standing one day and say, oh, why did I gain? And it just messes up your mood for the whole day, pretty much for the next 2 days.
Yeah.
While if you're taking the measurements every week, just don't look at one number, look at the average if you want to measure yourself every single day.
Definitely. Apart from doing my workouts, what else can I do to take care of my health?
Apart from doing workouts, just probably nutrition. It's probably the main thing, nutrition, and just looking, after what you're eating. I think I really like the cold therapy thing.
Yeah.
About dipping your gun in the cold shower and stuff like that. I can't get myself from doing it. I hate being cold.
No. Oh God! I mean, this time of year, I was saying this to Emma. I think that Wim Hof had a TV series on ITV. If you're listening to this from a different country than the UK, one of the TV channels we have in the UK, and Wim Hof was getting celebrities to do certain tasks in the cold water. And I'll tell you what, when we're getting like -4, -5, -6, which in probably certain other areas, depending where you listen, might not be nothing, but bloody hell, it's cold. I can't do the cold shower thing really, because the cold shower I can cop out too quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I need something, maybe I think in myself, if I could do it, I need either a cold bath and just dip into it, because cold shower, it's dripping on you, it's, you just...
You can get out.
Yeah.
I'll cop out. I'm definitely at some stage going to get myself a cold plunge. I'm going to have it at the back of the house, so I can go out the French doors, jump in,
get whatever time you can.
Whatever time I can get out and do that every other day, because obviously I have no hair, so I shave my head all the time. I need heat.
And the thing is, people, the leaner you are, the colder you are.
Oh yeah. Well, I've always got a low fat percentage, me, most of the time, so I definitely do feel the cold more than probably most people would do.
But that's probably the same, going back to the question, nutrition is going to be, your key thing. If you're training, did you mention lifting weights?
No.
Yeah, so training, like I said, probably no best. Weight training, in my opinion, going to overcome, if you need to choose weight training or cardio, weight training going to overcome cardio.
Yeah.
Because you're still getting some stimulus cardio-wise, plus bone density, muscle health, you're getting all the benefits, and just maybe not as much, cardio-wise. So strength training, cardio, and then nutrition, looking at, if you're eating good food, if you're eating a variety of foods, you're gonna be good. You won't need any vitamins and stuff like that. If you think you're missing something, if there's certain foods you don't like, maybe supplement with vitamins, multivitamins and stuff like that.
No, definitely. Like I did a longevity podcast I did on my own. I talked about weight training is definitely, but outside that, your nutrition, what you put in your body, try and eat more natural foods, try a varied diet so you can get plenty in. And if you need to supplementate on some things that you're not getting in, get it in. But most of the time, you've got nutrition, but you've got your recovery, rest that we talked about. People don't get enough sleep in my eyes.
That's what I was already in my head thinking. Forget sleep. Sleep is probably also one of the top things.
Sunlight, vitamin D. Not overexpose yourself too much in the sun, but you want to get enough sunlight and enough sun exposure to get that natural vitamin D. Ice baths have loads of benefits now that we're starting to study.
I haven't looked much into the breathing. There is some guy that does the breathing, I meant also to look into it as well, because I just keep hearing on more and more podcasts as well, people speaking about the breathing techniques and stuff like that.
Yeah, about we should be breathing more through our nose than through our mouth and that.
The same like with fighters, because with my other business, speak with fighters, and they say, if you are in a fight and you see someone start breathing through the mouth, he's done.
Yeah,
it's like, the breathing through the nose, and they do all these techniques. That really sounds interesting.
Definitely. I got another question that wasn't there. It was brought to me quite late last night from one of my clients when I told him we were doing this. His question was for us is, what is Petras' eating plan? So what do you tend to eat on an average day?
On an average day, probably lately, in very long time, I started skipping breakfast. Okay. But it's not something I'm trying to do. It's just something ends up happening. But so probably my breakfast is, instead of first thing in the morning, now it's about 10 o'clock. I'm probably going to have something like protein yogurt.
Yeah.
Something like very light protein yogurt, coffee. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Because before, when I used to go all into building muscle and all of that, I was force feeding myself. I was eating when I don't want to eat. But now I'm going more into path of enjoying and training more for health more than anything else. I just eat whenever I feel I need to eat. So like I say, probably breakfast I'm gonna have protein yogurt. I might have some sort of fruit like banana and apple.
Yeah.
Something really simple. Then lunch is probably lunch and dinner are probably same, more or less the same foods. Always trying to have some sort of carbohydrate, some sort of lean protein. Always use lean beefs or thighs, skinless thighs. Probably one of the favorites. Then veggies and something that I don't eat as much, but mostly my missus pushing me at the end of the evening, even though I think I'm someone who's speaking about it, but we all have our
I'm not a massive veg person at all. No, what we try and do on a Sunday is go for a roast or carvery, and that's probably my biggest intake of vegetables. And if we go on a carvery, I will overload on veg because I know I'm pretty poor in the week for it.
Yeah, I think what makes me eat more veg now is my daughter, because when we all sit together, you kind of need to show example, so you start you eating also vegetables to show how to eat. But yeah, it's pretty basic. The one thing is that I barely ever eat anything microwave or anything heat up and stuff like that, because I think just because maybe the way I was brought was back in Lithuania where I'm from, no one tends to eat any quick meals, like warm-up meals. And probably back then, because Lithuania is also probably 20 years behind UK, and there wasn't really options like that. Here you go and everything's frozen, ready meals and stuff like that. And I kind of understand why some people, say my age, don't know how to cook. I'm thinking 30 years of age and you still don't know how to cook. You can't cook steak, you can't cook a basic meal. And it's oh no, I never had to cook, because if you go to shop, everything is ready, everything is there on the table. And that's the thing I could never understand. And that's, I think, probably my best advice for everyone. You will improve your diet if you start cooking for yourself. And like I say, I eat basic foods. I don't need them fancy. I tend to to like I say, meats, go for lean meats. Don't overeat on fat and stuff like that. I'm not a very sweet person. I can't eat chocolates and stuff like that. I might have a craving, but I eat chocolate and I just don't want it anymore. I'm just that type of person. Some people, think I'm crazy. How can you stop, having a bowl of chocolates in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much the same. I mean, in the morning, what I'm tending to do at the moment, I'm having a Huel shake. Just purely and simply, I was fasting, and I probably will get back a bit of fasting. But I just felt like I was having a bit of a problem with my cholesterol, so I didn't know. I read somewhere that sometimes fasting can increase your LDL levels, and that's the problem that I was having. So I thought, well, and I also needed to get more fibre in my diet. So a Huel protein meal replacement that I was having has a lot of fibre in it. It's got 40 grams of protein, so it was quite a good little meal replacer. Around about 400 calories. I tend to have that. Then I pretty much get to work. I'll have a coffee just before work, and then I'm straight into back to back with about 4 clients. Tend to do in the morning, and it'll get to 1 o'clock. I'll bomb home, and I'll have a lean meat. It could be chicken, it could be salmon. It's not less than lean meat; it's quite a fatty meat.
Yeah,
but
healthy
fat, good omega-3s. And then also I might have a steak, and I'll kind of have my lunchtime tends to be high protein, so I might have some nuts with it. Even though I'll probably have cashew nuts, which is a bit more carby. But again, I'm not having it with rice or bread or anything like that. And then might have a protein shake or a protein bar if I'm being naughty, depending on how hungry I feel. What I try and do, instead of snacking, I just try and have obviously have my Huel, I'll try and have a decent sized lunch. So we'll have I won't just have 1 fillet of salmon, I'll have 2 fillets of salmon. If I have chicken, I'm having, depending on the size of the chicken breast, I could be having 1.5 if it's a large one, or it could be, if it's a medium one, I might have 2 chicken breasts. So I'll have quite a bit, so it stops me from snacking too much. And later on in the evening, to be fair, in the week, because the time I finish, I do another block of 4 clients up there, and I might finish at 8. The time I get home, the kids are still up, I might have to tuck them to bed. So when I come down, I want something quick and easy. Don't microwave, but what I will do is I'll have oven food.
Yeah.
So I might grill some lean cut burgers that I get from Marks and Spencer's, and I might have a bit of carb. I might throw some oven chips. I might make my own chips. I might have some rice, but it tends to be a protein source with some followed up by some carbohydrates. And I am a massive chocolate fan, so I will have a little bit of dark chocolate, which is 70%, as a little bit of a sweetener with a nice decaf coffee, just to have at night. Probably not ideal, but that is how I would eat.
Yeah, but that's what's all about, dieting, about nutrition, just finding your balance.
Yeah.
Finding, how much you can take, how much, you can limit yourself, because if you restrict yourself too much, that's where you end up, getting these binges. Yeah. But if you set, your meals and set your dessert ready for it, instead of, thinking, I'm not going to eat any chocolates, I'm not going to eat any sweets, I'm going to eat, my meal and that's it, and you're going to, it's right there,
But it's hard, like, having kids in the house, I tend not to buy the girls anything naughty, but the wife seems to get naughty things in there. So like last night, I get in, I'm hungry, and there's a jammy jodger knocking around, and I'm in taking that. But ideally, my treat at the end of the day is that piece of chocolate. And sometimes I might treat myself to a bit of protein bar or something like that. But no. But again, I always say to people, for me personally, I just tend to have a higher protein diet. My idea is to try and keep myself anabolic. That's what keeps me leaner. I lift lots of weights. I get a lot of protein in. I don't over eat protein, but I always make sure what I'm eating, it has a good source of protein. I try and eat naturally. So I don't try and cook a chicken breast. I'll get a steak. I'll get fish. I'll try and have anything that's not been tampered too much with. And cashew nuts, natural nuts. And if I'm going for carbohydrate, I tend to have more like a potato base or sweet potato.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might have rice with like a grain. And sometimes, if I know I've got a very active day on a Friday when I'm going to do basketball, I might actually sneak in a bowl of porridge. Again, it might be a mental thing, but I feel like just to get a bit more calories, because I just know I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, you're going to burn them out.
I want to burn it, yeah. I'm quite competitive, so I will. People say the amount of times I run up and down that court, playing as a small forward, just trying to cover things and stuff. I do burn a lot of calories, especially if you're going back to back for 2 hours like I was doing last week. And you start seeing stars, I knew that I hadn't probably taken as much calories in. So again, it's one of the and what I always say as a little trick to people is I try and do Monday to Friday. I tend to probably be maybe in a bit of a slight deficit, and because over the weekend I'm probably going to be on more of a surplus, but I'm going to take in a bit more calories because I'm with my family, because I don't know what we're doing at the weekend. I can't really plan that well, and if I can, I'll try and keep the majority of the day very similar to what a weekday would be, but then the Saturday night, maybe the Sunday, would be something totally different. I'm much control.
Because we are our person also, we either Friday or Saturday we have takeaway nights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just planning, up front. The thing is, I was never a guy that can gain weight easily. I need eat to retain my weight, otherwise I'm just going skin and bone.
Yeah.
If I eat just the way I want, I probably just keep losing weight.
Yeah.
But again, for people who are other way around, who trying to keep the weight down, is your, let's say, example was let's say if you on the weekend you ate a bit more Monday or Friday or whatever, these days you're gonna eat less, and just no planning ahead for stuff like that, and just don't feel guilty. And if you overate on the weekend or on the night out or something like that, I think it's just you can catch up the next day.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes used to hate the word diet, but I think everyone has to have some type of diet.
Yeah,
because all a diet is just a way of eating.
Yeah,
and it could be something extreme where you go completely vegan or plant-based or carnivore or keto, and it could be just the fact that you have a way of eating. Because I always say to people, if you have a way of eating, you can control it better. If you have no diet and you just eat whatever, and you're finding that you're getting overweight, it's probably because you're eating far too much. So, and you don't necessarily need to completely change it. You might just need to cut certain things out, and you just need to have a bit of a map about how you're eating. I mean, I used to spend a lot of time with clients when it comes down to the nutrition side. I probably spend less now with clients and get better results because I don't put too much pressure on. I just ask what they're eating, and I'll just make little assumptions as we go through the session about basically what they could do to change and just monitoring what they're doing. But most of the time when people get into training, because they're working hard in the gym, they know the nutritional side, they've got to be on point to see the results. So they kind of self-educate themselves. I mean, I've got all the different recipes there. I've got a little nutritional book that you can read to get a little bit of something of what they eat. I think most people know what to eat these days.
I think
people know they shouldn't be having fast foods or microwave foods and stuff.
But I think the also big mistake is when people start training, they start neglecting that because they think the training can overcome the bad diet, which is the way around.
Do it. No, I think, I know. I think a lot of people in the early days when I was as a PT and working in gyms, I think a lot of people were like that. And they're the typical ones that will go to the gym, spend a whole hour on a cross trainer, seeing that they burn 1,000 calories, and they think, right, open up the chocolates, Maltesers, crisps, and all that. I like to say, I don't work in commercial gyms. Obviously, I'm lucky enough to have my own place. That could still be happening. I just don't see it. But obviously, with all my clients, that's not the issue. Maybe on the alcohol intake, probably more than the actual food intake is my biggest worry with my clients.
I guess with alcohol is again like, there's nothing bad with alcohol, but the thing is, when there's alcohol, there's snacks. And snacks, I think, much worse than the alcohol itself.
Depends how much alcohol and
obviously.
Because the only thing I ever is a doctor in UK that does like morning shows, Dr. Hillary, and I don't really agree half the stuff he says. But the one thing I always agreed with what he said about alcohol as being liquid calories, or liquid cake, I think he called it, and that was one thing I definitely agreed. People sometimes don't look at alcohol as the same as they will look at food, and it could be just as bad because it has calories in it, and that calories, if it's not converted to energy, will be stored as fat. And that's where a lot of people can go wrong with alcohol.
Because same again, no. Because I think it's like can of beer is same like a can of Coke. I think it's also like around 200 calories or something like that.
Well, see, back in the day, I would when I was trying to be good, I'd have a can of Coke instead of a beer. It didn't quite work, probably, you know what I mean? But because actually the alcohol will make you piss more and dehydrate yourself a little bit more, so it's probably better weight loss than having Coca-Cola. But I mean, that's probably going to be a podcast in itself about just talking about alcohol. Obviously, I don't drink anymore, which definitely is an advantage for me when it comes to maintaining weight or keeping weight off. But that'll be probably a separate podcast.
It's probably we can make the whole podcast just about diet and diet tips and stuff.
We'll definitely do that.
Diet is such a big subject.
I'll definitely we'll probably get together again and go in an in-depth talk about the diet side of it. But Pete, thank you very much for joining us on this. And like I say, I'll definitely get Pete again on here. As you can tell, he's got a lot of knowledge in the game. But thanks for listening. We'll probably do another Q&A at some stage in that. So if there's any questions that we didn't cover and you would like to see us cover it in a later episode, just email me or contact me through social media, and we'll rack them up like we've done today, and we'll work our way through it. But thanks for listening.